Oh, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Georgian Bay Live with William Myles. I'm here tonight with Kevin King, Centum King Mortgages. And Kevin, welcome.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Just wonderful.
Excellent. So, thank you for joining us tonight. A little background about myself: William Myles, realtor with LePage, In Touch Realty in Midland, Penetang, Tiny, and Tay. And Kevin is a mortgage broker slash owner slash broker of record with Centum King Mortgages. Been in the mortgage industry for 20 years as an agent and then a broker, and has owned his own company for the last 6 years. Kevin focuses on the local market as well as helping people with their online mortgage needs. He's excelled in a lot of different areas, winning Entrepreneur of the Year, Growth of the Year for brokerages and for himself personally. So Kevin is a hardworking guy, and if you need a mortgage, he can definitely get it done for you. So Kevin, again, thanks for joining us tonight. And we're really happy that you could be here, and we're just going to have a few questions for you as we kind of do. Everyone's kind of got a backstory. All the heroes have backstories. So what's your backstory, Kev? What drove you to become a mortgage broker?
So it was an interesting story. I actually I bought my first house when I was 22, and I had solicited the services of a mortgage broker back then, and kind of liked what I'd seen basically, and did some inquiring later, and then about a year later, I was in the mortgage business.
Wow.
Back then it was, mortgage brokers were more, you went to a mortgage broker if you couldn't get your mortgage kind of thing. That was the only reason sort of back then. And I think back then 10% of people were using mortgage brokers. And now that's drastically changed. I think we're probably up to about 40, 45.
Wow, that's good. That's what you want to see, right? Because we got a question coming up, but why is what you do so different than the bank? Like you're saying 10%, now 45. So what drives that traffic and what makes the difference between what you do?
So there's a lot of differences between us and the bank. A lot of people don't realize it, but having that privilege of walking into the bank and talking to the bank and dealing with the bank in the end costs you money. There's cost involved with that the bank pushes off onto the consumer. Nowadays, the cheapest place to get your mortgage isn't typically from a bank. It would be from a mortgage company, some insurance companies. We call them monolines in our industry. And you have online access. You can call them on the phone, but there's not a physical location that you can go to. So that costs less to operate, which is passed on to the client. So then, you would maybe also go to a mortgage broker if your income was a little off, you're self-employed, you're not declaring everything possibly, or maybe a credit issue. When you get into the self-employed, not declaring, and credit issue kind of things, you need either more money down or more equity in your house to make a broker be effective.
Okay.
And another key thing is service. Basically, I work on 100% commission. If your mortgage doesn't close, I don't get paid. So nobody's more motivated to close it than I am. The person you're dealing with at the bank is they're on a salary. They don't really care if your mortgage closes or not. They're going to probably get some sort of little bonus for your mortgage closing, but they're really not going to put their best foot forth for you. And when you're using a broker, that's not the case. It's, I eat, sleep, and breathe mortgages, and when I get involved, I don't want to waste my time. So if I don't think it can happen, I'm going to tell you pretty much right away. And 99% of the time, if I say it can happen, it can happen.
Okay, yeah. Well, I know that for a fact. That's why I always send people to get their mortgages with you, and I know they get done. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us, and hi, everyone who's joined us so far. We appreciate you being here tonight with Georgian Bay Live and Kevin King. This is fantastic. So, another question for you here, Kev, is what trends do you see in the funding right now, and as far as the terms of mortgages and pricing locally are going?
So things have drastically changed in the mortgage industry due to COVID, and some good things and some bad things. Locally, you're seeing lenders tightening up, you know, because of our area. We're in a small area, and just in general, they're tightening up. They're really taking a second look at things. If you're owning any rental properties, that's seems to be a bit of a problem. They're scaling back. They're looking to confirm you're still getting paid rent, where before you could just get away with showing a lease or possibly some taxes from the previous year. Rates had kind of they dropped really low and then they started going up, and now they're dropping low again. They probably should be lower still, but lenders are, I believe, pricing in for potential losses. They're afraid. Everybody's afraid of what's going on. So they're making adjustments. There's some lenders locally that would deal here before they're just outright declining deals. They're not dealing in our area. They're wanting to stick to urban, larger populated areas of 50,000 or more.
Okay.
So things are definitely changing. Some of the good things that are happening, I've closed probably getting close to 10 mortgages in the last, call it 2 months almost, completely virtual, where the client didn't even leave their house to go to a bank. Like, they didn't go anywhere. They didn't come to my office. They didn't go to a lawyer's office. No appraiser came in their house. It was just a complete virtual process, hands off. So a really safe aspect, and the banks, haven't adapted to this. So it's something that makes us stand out for sure. And there's a lot of older people or people that have some potential health issues that probably should avoid everybody and follow these guidelines very strictly. So if they're in a mortgage situation and
say they need
not every
or whatever,
do this, like some of them haven't adapted to technology, but find one that has, and anyone on my team has, me or my team have, and we're able to do it completely virtual. Your safety's not jeopardized by going out into public or going to your lawyers or having someone come into your house. So that's been a positive change. Almost overnight, everybody adapted. My entire industry is pretty much working from home. You could get we're getting approvals on weekends right now.
Wow.
Even from major.
I got a question here from somebody that tuned in, Kev.
Sure.
It says, Kayla says, when should I start shopping for a mortgage renewal? A mortgage renewal. How much timeline do you think is needed to get that done these days?
About 120 days.
So, okay.
So
4 months.
120 days out, you can get your rate locked in. Some of the better lenders are 60 days, but usually within about 120 days, you can get something locked in. So if you look in today for something and for some reason they go down further, you then will get that lower rate.
But if they go up, you'd be locked in at the rate you locked in at?
Yeah, if you try to do it before 120 days, you can't hold the rate. So it's kind of senseless before then.
So within 4 months, within 4 months.
Great time if you're up for renewal soon. So basically, right now we're into May, so September you basically can get your renewal going. May, June, July. Yeah, like if you're early in September, we can do renewals now till about September 8th at this point. And I would highly suggest reaching out right away.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, Kayla, you'll see, I'll leave a link for Kevin's information. You can always go to his website. We'll leave that information on the post as well. And you'll be able to find Kevin in the Georgian Bay Live Group as well. We'll do a feature for him there. So that's great. Yeah, you bet. And Kevin he'll take great care of you. He does with all of my clients. So that's great. And thank you for answering that, Kev. Appreciate it. That gives us a good insight.
No problem.
So what can, and of course it's a question for you as a broker and as a lender. What can homeowners do to protect their biggest investment right now? Is there any work they should be doing or anything they could be, sort of doing to protect that or build up the equity in there, or anything that you would suggest?
Well, lenders, if we have to get a house appraised, I always ask the question, is there any work that's outstanding in the house right now? If you send an appraiser in and he's immediately going to take a picture of that thing, whatever it is that's
not done. Yeah, so get done what's not done.
that will affect the value of your home. In fact, some lenders will say we're not lending on that file because that's not done. As far as renovations are concerned, just even if the house is getting older and in need of some TLC, a coat of paint can go a very long way. Obviously, you get into kitchen, bathroom, that kind of thing, it gets more expensive. And you got to be careful that you don't overkill it, because you can easily do that too.
That's right.
You can. A lot of people think, oh, I put 40 grand in my house, it should be worth 40 grand more. Well, that's not always the case. The outside is an important thing as well. Curb appeal is huge.
There was a toilet paper shortage, but don't put in a gold bidet, right?
If it looks like a dump when you're walking in the door, you're already set up for failure anyway. So, some curb appeal is very important. And then beyond that, when you go into the house, it's all about personal touch too, right? So,
yeah.
Everybody has their own taste and style.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. A little paint can go a long way. A little cleaning, little minor stuff, rake the lawn kind of thing, right? Now, say if somebody is doing okay in this, they didn't lose their job, things are kind of normal for them. And I've talked to a lot of people that's both people in the relationship are on the front lines, or they're both still working. Like, life hasn't changed entirely for them. Say they wanted to do something to add some value to their homes, or maybe put in a pool. What would the process be there?
So that's pretty simple, and I'm glad you brought that up. Basically now, how it worked, the kind of the line in the sand the lenders drew, because as we know, this kind of just happened overnight, COVID. And basically, if you'd purchased the house and you'd signed off on your financing prior to March 25th, and you were closing, I believe, before September 1st, and they kind of were pretty patient with you. After that, it started getting a little more intense. Lenders are doing secondary job calls now a week prior to funding to ensure that everybody on the application is still working. That was super important. But as long as everybody's working, or everybody doesn't even have to be working, give me a call and I'll see if it works for you. But if you're looking to get a pool in, what I would suggest you do is you got to get a quote on the pool, and I would add some sort of buffer in there, and then you might have a penalty to break your mortgage if we're going to be breaking the mortgage, and then we have some legals. So let's say the pool is $20,000, and we're going to call a penalty $2,500 and $1,000 for legals. So we're going to get you a new mortgage for your current mortgage plus $25,000, and then the lawyer, you sign. Well, you don't have to go with the lawyer anymore. You can do it at your house. But basically, during COVID anyway, I'm sure once COVID's over, some lenders are going to take a different stance on that. But we signed the deal up. May or may not need to get appraised. You go to, after the lawyer's done his work, you get your money, and then you can go get your pool. Really simple. Under normal circumstances, 2 to 3 weeks to close, and that is happening still in some cases, depending on the lawyer lender. But within a month, you can get your money for sure.
It's situational, of course, but yeah, that's great. I got another question here on the live one, Kev. Where do first-time buyers stand right now? We were ready when we were ready to go. Then COVID stopped everything, and we both currently can't work. So both of them aren't working because their jobs are on a standstill. But would that affect things? Like, I think probably, yeah. Until you can get back working.
If you're not working, it's definitely affected. In our area, I have a slew of first-time home buyers who have been approved, maybe in the 250, 300 range a year ago, and they still haven't been able to find houses. During this, I've actually had a shocking number of clients have managed, because the craziness is gone. There's not those multiple offers going in, and there's not a lot of, some people are scared. They don't want to buy a house right now. Things have slowed down. So these guys have been able to actually get houses, and some of them are pretty happy. I personally, the world's going to go on. Yeah, the house prices might go up and down a little bit, but the moment you get back to work, get right back into the game and try and get a house. That's my suggestion.
All right, Holly, did you catch that? So the moment you guys get back to work, give me a call, give Kevin a call, and we'll get you all set up and we'll get going. If you're not already working with somebody, I'd be glad to help you get your first home. And Kevin would be glad to get you your first mortgage.
And maybe now, get pre-approved, because we can hold that rate for 20 days as well too.
Okay, so that's good to
Still
know.
need to be pre-approved even if you're not working.
Okay, so you can still send the application in, fill out all the forms, and then we know where you stand now at least, and that works too. So that's good.
Yeah, we'll get you pre-approved, pre-qualified based on you being back to work.
Okay, yeah, based on going back.
And get that rate held.
Okay, so we can get the rate held, and we can hold the rate for 20 days when it's a pre-approval?
120.
120 days.
120
Okay,
days.
so 120 days, so that's good. And then if you're back to work, if we're all back to work in 90 or 100 days, who knows what's going to happen into the future, but things might go that way. So, no, it's really good. And Kevin and I are buddies, as well as colleagues and work together. But we went to a magic show, on February 29th this year. The leap year, just
before we went into lockdown.
Just a little bit before we went into lockdown. Luckily, neither Kevin and I were sick, but we had a good time. We watched the magic show. Had a nice dinner at the Casino Rama, and today I wanted to share with everyone a little magic trick that I do. And so I meant to actually just slip my mind. If you've got a minute, grab a deck of cards. I know I pre-warned Kevin to get a deck of cards. And I'm going to teach you, and you can just follow along, whichever you'd like. We'll do the magic trick, but if you get the cards, I'm just going to wait just a minute here. So I got another question. What are current rates like? Well, this is good. Go grab your cards if you're interested, and we'll ask this question and Kevin can answer it. What are the current rates like right now, and have things calmed down a bit?
Yeah, so the current rates today depends if you're purchasing a home or refinancing a home. If you're purchasing it, the mortgage is CMHC insured. Even if you didn't put down, if you put beyond the 20% down, the lender is still going to insure the money in the back end and pay the premium on your behalf. And so you're entitled to a better rate. So the reason the rate is better is because they're borrowing the money from bond funds that need guaranteed payout. So when the fact CMHC or GE or Canada Guarantee is involved, the money is guaranteed. The lender gets paid no matter what happens. So those rates today, you're looking at 2.54, 2.49, somewhere in that range. And that's for a purchase, CMHC insured, or a large down payment on a regular mortgage, a regular purchase, sorry. If you're only putting 20% down, you'll probably pay a little bit more than that. On a refinance, you're looking at 2.69, 2.79. And then on the variable rate, the prime rate is now 2.45 with most lenders. But many of the lenders, 2 months ago, you could get prime minus 0.5, 0.9 potentially, depending if it was insured or not, or a refinance. But now they've scaled it way back. It's like prime minus 0.1, 0.2, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Some of them are prime plus.
Oh, okay.
So still really good. Like rates basically they're at historical lows right now.
So that's good. So if you need a refinance, get in touch with Kevin and he'll get you set up. So I hope you grabbed your cards. I hope you got the deck here. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for the jacks, the queens, the kings, and the aces. And you're going to take them all out, and you're going to separate them into 4 different piles. And we're going to tell you a COVID-19 story on a magic trick. Okay? So I'm going to give you about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You're welcome, Ashley. And so hopefully you've got your cards ready. So the story is going to start with the queens. And the queens got tired of being at home during COVID-19. So they all talked and they decided they were going to meet downtown. So they were going to go out. So we're going to just put this right here. Hopefully that stays like that. So the queens decided that they were going to go out and get together. When they got there, they realized they missed their kings. And so they wanted to call their kings to come out. We'll move that just a little bit. So the kings said, hey, we've been bored at home too. So we're going to go out and we're going to have a little party downtown. That sounds fun. Well, then the kings and queens, they called their friends. So then the jacks showed up. Okay? Well, what do you know? All of a sudden there's a little social gathering that's not allowed. So somebody called the cops. And then the cops got there. And they arrested everybody. And when they put them all in the cruisers, they didn't know who was going where, and they separated them into different cruisers, and they made their way down to the station. And when they got to the station, they wanted to keep social distancing, so they wanted to make sure that everybody was put into their own cells. And so they did that, and they put them all into the same cells with each other. And so, can we see that? There they are, all in the cells, keeping social distanced together. That's a little Friday night magic for you guys. And that's our time with Kevin. Oh, it's a little bit. Let's see if I can get that. No, I think we're just getting a little bit of, maybe I can, sorry about that. There. Oh, no, I'm getting a little bit of backlight there with you, Kev. Sorry, man. Anyway, I just want to thank you, so much for joining us tonight and getting us some insight into the market and into the mortgage broker side of things and why you should use a broker over a bank. And I think we've done, as many deals as my wife and I have done, one deal with a bank, and the rest have been through mortgage brokers. So we believe in it, and because we did a research at one point where we went to a bank, and then we went to a mortgage broker, and the mortgage broker went back to the same bank and got us a better rate and better terms than we were able to get ourselves. So that's another thing that mortgage brokers can actually do, and that's based on the volume that mortgage brokers do. The banks will give them better deals for their clients for bringing them there.
Totally correct.
Awesome, Kevin. Well, again, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon. And thank you again, everybody, for joining us, Georgian Bay Live. And tune in next week. We're going to be having Nathana Woods on with Make a Mess Art Studio, and we'll be talking about some messy art. All right, we look forward to seeing you guys. Take care.